Just by being a citizen, they had another wonderful amenity. We built a wonderful bike and pedestrian way as a part of a new bridge going over the harbor. We're working to add bike and pedestrian ways on other bridges, and it's one of those livable city things that people, they want and demand the right to. And then we will eventually come under the bridges to our baseball park that we built on the water. And it was hard to do, and people said why, and it cost more money. And when I was running for re-election one time, one of my opponents said, the mayor never told you he had an opportunity to buy free land, get free land, be given land out on the edge of town for the ballpark, which would have been less expensive. And I said, no, I never mentioned that because I didn't think that was important. Because when you build something for the public, you put it on the best land. Give the public the finest land, not the cheap land. Heck with that. So we got this ballpark. People love it. And the families, they never tell me about the ball game. And we have good teams. They want to tell me about the fun. And they want to tell me about the beauty of the place. And the sun setting and the color and the waters and the breeze and the views and all of that. It's a part of the public realm that they own. That's what you see when you buy a hot dog and a cold beer behind first base. Turn around and talk to one of the concession stand people the other night. I said, boy, y'all sure got a beautiful view. And she said, isn't it something? It's just so beautiful. And that's part of the public realm. We're connecting the peninsula eventually, and with, as I said, every opportunity. Visioning is so important. This is a new bridge that was being built to come into one side of the peninsula and where there was no bridge to connect from a suburban community, James Island, 40,000 people. I mean, a big connection, and coming in by hospitals, and would bring people in easier access onto Calhoun Street, which was a beat-up old street that had a lot of different things on it, but it just was, just kind of rugged. And the other end was going to be the aquarium. So one of our preservation organizations came to me. We were planning the aquarium. They said, Joe, you got the bridge coming in the aquarium, and at the other end, you have a plan for Calhoun Street. I said, no, we don't. God, I felt so bad. We should have. So quickly got all the neighborhoods together and civic groups and hospitals and colleges and all like that. And they came up with a vision for Calhoun Street. Said it could be a great urban boulevard. And they kind of prescribed the uses that would be best in the urban design guidelines and all of that. So luckily we had that done when good friends of mine bought this, which is a typical looking place on Calhoun Street to put a max sleep in. They said, Joe, we talking cash cow. I said, well, fellas, we just did the plan and it doesn't allow any motels along there. And so they were very disappointed. And so they took it to city council. We had a terrible battle. I won by 1 vote. Stopped the cheap motel. County looking for a place for library, so we bought it, gave it to county. So instead of a cheap motel, we got a library. Then across the street was the vacant parking lot, school board looking for a place, and we needed some more officers. We did a deal with the school board and built a school board in the city planning and engineering building directly across the street from the library. Without the vision the citizens demanded, we would have a cheap motel across from a surface parking lot. And the visioning is essential, and it is hard work. It's intellectual, it's planning, it's dreaming, but that is becoming a great urban boulevard. And then on that same street, we had the Francis Marion Hotel that was bankrupt. Prudential owned it, and but it had to be a hotel. It was on King Street, Retail Street, which is a long street, and then intersecting with Calhoun, a major intersection. And the college wanted it for dorm. And I told the college they couldn't have it for dorm. Now, I didn't own it or anything, but I told them they couldn't have it for dorm. And because it was a hotel. And I mean, this was a major intersection. So if it's not a hotel, but this is this major space in the city, and it's a dorm, you got a little invisible light blinking. It used to be a hotel. Area must have kind of gone down. Isn't all that hot anymore. Best kind of deal they could work out was a dorm. So the banks weren't lending money then. It was a tough time, way back, another tough time. And I called Hugh McCall. I knew he was had a Nations Bank, and I said, Hugh, can you help me? Let's put together. And he said, you know, when I was a young banker, we had some really good conventions at the Francis Marion. Anyway, we got 7 banks together. Tom Hood is here. Their bank participated in it, and we put all kind of city money and HUD money and 108 money and preservation tax credits. We bought the land, built a parking garage. People thought I was nuts, you know, putting all this money into this thing, this hotel. Well, we got it built. They paid us back so fast, we had a prepayment penalty to HUD. We give them the money back. They never got money back that quick. And but getting the right use there turned this building into that. And this building, it really looked like that. We wouldn't let them tear it down, and they were kind of keeping it. That's a fabulous restaurant. And then quickly go over, whole blocks have been restored because the right use went into the ecosystem. And then Marion Square, you see the Francis Marion Hotel to your left, and that had never really worked. They had some parking on the upper part of it. You see there's the old Citadel where my alma mater was first built. And so we knew it could be a great place. We got great architects and worked hard, to transform that kind of workaday, scruffy place into a wonderful garden, public garden, for lack of a better term. We got rid of the parking and created a pedestrian street. We have our farmers market there, which is fabulous, and put fountains and arts and crafts, and it's and then the values, of course, around have gone up because of that great investment and with beautiful materials and a wonderful design of a great public square in our city and Christmas tree lighting and so much more. Almost finished, I promise. Charleston is a small peninsula. We want tourists. So we used to get them in the springtime to see Rainbow Row and the azaleas, and then they started coming year-round, which is what we wanted. And then I started having these growing pitched battles between the residents and the tourism industry about tourism. I didn't want that because we needed both. We needed residential community to be livable and a strong tourist economy. So we came up with the nation's first tourism management plan. All it was I realized that we must accept the responsibility of planning how people use our city, just as any wise steward would do. So we decided how we wanted visitors to use it, and we needed a visitor center, so we got this land from Norfolk Southern, the old railroad complex, and turned it into a beat-up-looking stuff into a wonderful visitor center. It was in the right part of town. People could come and bring their cars and stop, and it was very beautiful. When we started with tourism management, we had 1,000,007 visitors and a lot of complaints. We now have 4.4 million visitors and essentially no complaints, just by accepting the responsibility of managing it. And then the visitors love the visitor center, and they come in by bus or by car, and they park in beautiful parking facilities, and then they go into the visitor center and they see the scale map of the model of the city on the floor, and they kind of figure that sure they can walk it, and so then they leave their car and they get into the trolleys, and then the trolleys go where we want them to go. And among other things, we have saved many marriages by doing this because, you know, rather than, honey, why are you going down to park about to get killed in the wrong way and all like that and ruin the trip, they park their car and they get on the trolley, and then they go spend money where we'd like them to spend money, and then they, you know, live together a long time and very happy and all of that.